Hillary Clinton praising Megyn Kelly of Fox TV. And Donald Trump and Fox make up. And also I want to show you how what Donald Trump is doing right now might just be the ticket to get someone elected like, say, Alan Keyes. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Look in the mirror. You look in the mirror and go, bah, bah. Make a little sheep noise. Because that's what the Republican leadership want you to be. A dumb sheep. And they are the wolves. By the way, a smart wolf will only kill one sheep at a time. So if you can have a wolf that's over the flock, well, then they can eat the sheep whenever they want. Look at all that food live on the hoof. And what the Republican machinery wants, and I'm talking about the D.C. Republican establishment, the big money people, and the strategists, what they want is for you and I to be stupid, easily led, sheep. Now, I'm gonna tell you some things on today's program that if you can integrate these tools into your analysis, your ability to read the news, look at the news, it's going to help you for the next year an awful lot. It really is. From now all the way certainly to the primary start, okay? I ran for the U.S. House of Representatives in 1998. My primary was the fifth most expensive primary in the country at that time. It was a brutal campaign. I had 4 Republican governors: George Pataki, who I despise; Weld of Massachusetts, who I despise; Christie Todd Whitman of New Jersey, who I despise; and Wilson, Pete Wilson of California, who I despise. Those 4 Republican governors started what they think they called the Republican Leadership Council or something, and they raised money. Now remember, I'm running as a Republican, okay? For the United States Congress, 23rd District of New York. Maurice Hinchey was the Democrat incumbent. So I was running for the U.S. House and had enormous name recognition, tons of earned media. Earned media, by the way, let me stop there. Earned media is when you get a story on the TV or in the newspaper. It's earned media. You didn't pay for it, you earned it by doing something. Tons of name recognition. Was probably the most well-known pro-life leader in America at that time. Tons of ability to raise money. Had a huge staff. At one point, we had almost 50 people working the phones and working for us. It was just massive. Raised, I don't know, I think $1.2 million, which in 98 for a Republican primary was a lot of money. Anyway, I digress. So Pataki, Weld, Christie Todd Whitman, and Wilson, these 4 Republican governors come after me with a vengeance. Oh, by the way, all of them are pro-baby killing. Every single one of them had hands drenched with blood. And so some Republican strategists said, Terry is going to win the Republican primary. I was running against a guy who had not a lot of money and not a lot of name recognition. So what the Republican machinery did was they poured a ton of money into the district, independent expenditures they're called, where they just throttled me, pounding me, making up stuff against me, saying I didn't pay my taxes. Total lie. Just total lie. They had a picture of me. I wish we could find this. Try and find that, Billy Bob, someday. There was a picture of me superimposed on a picture of the Oklahoma City bombing. When that federal building was bombed and all those people were killed, they had a picture of me next to it, as if I supported bombing the federal building. That's how evil this class is. Now, the reason I'm this class of consultants, the reason I'm telling you this is because I've been in the middle of these brawls. They lied about me. They spent a ton of money. They broke my back in the primary. Fast forward to 2006. I ran in Florida We had moved to Florida, and I ran in a Republican primary for the state Senate of Florida, state government, against a man named Jim King. Jim King is the one who was the architect of the euthanasia law in Florida to kill the elderly and to kill the handicapped. And he's the one who single-handedly ensured that Terry Schiavo died, at least inside of the state Senate. Jeb Bush was also a part of why she died. But anyway, same thing happened, same playbook. The Republican machinery went to big lawyers and said, we need money from you. We want you to pony up. There were people writing $10 and $20 and $25,000 checks, okay? They took that money and they punished me on television and they punished me on in the mail. Now, we don't know if they spent $500,000 or $1 million. We don't even know. It was like raining fire on my head. It was worse than what had happened in New York for a state Senate seat, because I was a threat to the establishment. Because I was an outsider, and I would not play ball by their rules. I said child killing is number one. And then I went after the lawyers. I said we've got to change the laws, how lawyers can sue people. It makes all of our medical malpractice insurance go up, or our health insurance go up. So what did Jeb Bush do? That pillar of strength. The establishment. What did Jeb Bush do? He held a press conference with Jim King. Baby killing Jim King. Terry Schiavo killing Jim King. And he said, Randall Terry is a problem and Jim King is a great Republican, and I want you to vote for Jim King. That's what Jeb Bush did. That's what the establishment did. Fire, money, endorsements. So the things I'm going to tell you in the rest of this program, this is not something I picked up and read in a book, okay? This is not something I saw in a newspaper once, right? I have the scars on my back, metaphorically speaking, to prove the enemies that I have and the rumbles that I've been in. And I know what these people are doing. I have written checks to these consultants. I've sat in rooms with these consultants. I know what they are telling people against Trump, and some of them even trying to tell Trump. So what I want to do is help you to not, when you hear the news, when you hear a Republican consultant, what I want you to not do is say, bah, bah. Thanks to friends like you, we have state-of-the-art cameras and state-of-the-art teleprompters and state-of-the-art gear here in the studio. We have one big need, however. We have not yet been able to upgrade our computers. The computers that we use for a television broadcast or to create a documentary are not like the kind that you can just go buy at Best Buy. They are expensive because it takes so much horsepower to create TV series and or documentaries. So I'm asking you, if you want to see this show grow and you want to see us finish the What Would Muhammad Do series, help us get these computers. 3 computers that we need right now are going to be just shy of $20,000. That's the kind of horsepower that we need. Go to the GoFundMe page you see right there. Watch the pilot for What Would Muhammad Do? And if you like the show, give us a gift. All right, so we're talking about Donald Trump and how he is opening up a lane for good people. Maybe Alan Keyes. You know, the 2 people that in my lifetime that I really would have loved to have seen to be president were Howard Phillips, God rest his soul, he passed away a couple of years ago, and Alan Keyes, Dr. Alan Keyes, Ambassador Alan Keyes. Either one of these 2 men would have made a phenomenal president. But Alan Keyes is still alive. So there is a chance there. And Donald Trump may be giving us that opportunity. Now, before I go to that, I want to tell you one other story to show you the evil of these people. There was a senator, U.S. senator, a good man, a godly man named Gordon Humphrey. And I believe he's still alive. I interviewed him many times on my radio show. He was in the U.S. Senate and was a champion at that time for a lot of pro-life conservative causes. Well, when he was out of the Senate, In 1998, when I ran for the U.S. House, I contacted him and asked him, would you please come and campaign with me? Would you help me in my U.S. race, my U.S. House race? He said, sure. I had a huge district. Like, it would take 5 hours to drive in the car from one city to another, one media market to another. So former U.S. Senator Gordon Humphrey and I traveled city to city, media market to media market, had great press coverage. And he and I had some very long, just the two of us in the car, had some very long private conversations about politics, vision, agenda. He was very complimentary and said that the platform that I was discussing with people, he said, this is actually a presidential platform. It's overarching for what you can do or what these principles could do for the country. Fast forward 2 years. He's running for governor in New Hampshire. New Hampshire does not have its own big media market. Manchester has got maybe one TV station, two little ones. If you're running for office in New Hampshire, you buy your television commercials in Boston. Okay? So my great aunt, who lives in Boston at the time, God rest her soul, she calls my mom. She calls my mom and says, Doreen, why is Randy on television here in Boston? Why is Randy on TV? Why do I keep seeing Randy on TV and these ads on TV here? The Republican machinery working with the Democrat machinery. I can't remember now if it was a general or if it was a primary, so I want to be careful here. What they did was they ran footage of me getting arrested and saying what a criminal I was and that I wanted to see abortion is shot or something. I mean, just crazy things. And they said, and Gordon Humphrey campaigned for him. Do we want a man like Gordon Humphrey to be our next governor? And it cost him the election. He was ahead in the polls. It cost him the election. I keep looking over at Billy Bob because he's never heard these stories. I have more stories than I can possibly tell you in front of this camera. So this political establishment, these consultants, they're saying Trump can't do this and Trump doesn't have an infrastructure. Trump hasn't spent one dime of his own money. Trump hasn't raised any money. He's just getting all this earned media. He's dominating in the polls, but he doesn't have an infrastructure. Blah, 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 blah. I watched last night some guy, what's his name, Adam Goodman or something? Is that Adam Goodman? A GOP media strategist. Ooh, wow, Adam, that makes you what? That makes you bought and paid for. That means that you clawed your way up on a hill of bodies, of remains, where the bones, where the bodies are buried. And then you got a check, you got some money as a consultant to the Republican Party. So these consultants now are starting to come out of the woodwork and say, well, Trump is not a serious candidate because he doesn't have any policies. Trump doesn't have an infrastructure. Trump is just a blah, blah, blah. They're all frantic because Trump is not playing by the rules, and the sheep, us, aren't listening to the GOP establishment, and they're panicking. They're panicking. And they should panic because, I'm going to tell you what could be next. Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these two books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note, and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today. when we were off camera, Billy Bob said to me, well, wouldn't stuff like that really make the true Christian voters come out and vote? And, well, I'm going to be blunt here. Okay. At least for back then. No. Most Christians, God save us from our friends. Most Christians are sheep. Bah. Gordon Humphrey hangs out with Randall Terry. Bah, bah. Jim King is a good guy and I should vote for him. Bah, bah. Now, maybe what's happening with Trump right now is causing Christians to wake up. And that's what I think is happening. So let's turn this and come all the way back to this hubbub over the weekend. All right? And Megyn Kelly and her hormones, and what did Donald Trump really mean, and what didn't he say? We need to be discerning, and there's something going on, and it's basically this. Donald Trump tapped into rage over immigration, okay? Illegal immigration. He then tapped into some anger about Iran. Then he stumbled into rage about the media. See, when Donald Trump said bad things about Mexicans and being rapists and this and that, and the media jumped on him, the sheep, us, we were supposed to say, bad man, Donald Trump bad, you. But we didn't. But then, he made the fatal mistake. And instead, by the way, his poll numbers went up. Then he made the fatal mistake of speaking unkindly about John McCain. Yeah, John McCain. And we were supposed to dump him. And the media, this is an outrage, and bad, John McCain good, bad, Donald Trump bad. And then we didn't go along. We didn't follow our masters in the media. They were whistling for us. They were offering us little sheep goodies, and we didn't bite. We didn't follow. And again, his poll numbers went up. But then, he came out against all women. He joined the war on women. I mean, Hillary Clinton even praised Megyn Kelly. What an exceptional woman. And Donald Trump is attacking all women. He attacked the Mexicans and war heroes, and now he's attacking women. What do you say about this, people? Bad liars, bad deceivers. We actually can read, and some of us are starting to read. We're reading the quotes in context. We're listening to what he really said and what he really didn't say. And you know what? The credibility of people from the major networks, from the Washington Post, it's cratering. And we're not following. We're being bad sheep. Bad sheep. So what it could do is, if you look at that last poll that just came out, I think it was an NBC poll, it showed Trump at 23%, Ted Cruz, there's an insurgency campaign, at 13%, Ben Carson, 11%, he's not in government, another insurgency campaign. Then tied for fourth, the next two top people were Marco Rubio, who I don't trust, and Carly Fiorina, never been in government. Basically, they're the five outsiders. Jeb Bush, if the debate was held tonight, Jeb Bush would be off to the sideline. Ooh. But I'm not going to follow anymore. I haven't been following for years, but I'm hoping to give you some radar, some tools, so that you can see that nice person who's offering you a little sheep treat is actually a wolf, and he intends to eat your lunch, and he intends to eat you, okay? So what Trump has done, whether he meant to or not, is he threw the whole thing wide open, all right? The top 5 people are all outsiders. Now, what happens if if the Teflon stops working for the Teflon Donald? What happens then to all those voters? I'll tell you when we come back. Bah! Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're gonna run. No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. All right, let's bring this all the way around. By the way, there have been people who've been saying Donald Trump is like Reagan. Donald Trump is like Winston Churchill. And I'm thinking, you know what, just slow down, okay? I like what Donald Trump is doing, but these kind of comparisons are way premature. I have children named after Reagan and Winston Churchill, okay? And right now, I'm not gonna name any of my kids should I have more after Donald, okay? No, I'm just not. So we'll see how this all pans out. We've got a lot of time. Now, Trump cannot burn this hot for the next 6 months. On a media level, he actually needs to start to just mete out what he says because he can't burn this hot. In other words, if you see a horrible accident and there's never an accident, you look at it, you stare at it. But if you're watching a demolition derby and there's accidents all over the place, after a while it just becomes like, oh, I can't bear this. And so he's a media pro, so he knows this. He actually did phoners on Sunday for these big TV stations. He didn't go on any of them. He just phoned in, which was smart on a media level for him. But let's talk about Alan Keyes and Rubio and Ted Cruz. If Donald Trump self-combusts, or if the Republican establishment is able somehow to get enough of us sheep to ignore him, or enough of these sheep to ignore him, and he can't build an infrastructure and he loses, whatever, things come unglued. Where do you think those voters that are following him right now are going to go? Do you think they're going to Jeb Bush? They're not going to Jeb Bush. No. And Bush's people know this. Bush's people know that he has such high negatives inside of the Republican Party that people despise him. Those voters are not going to Jeb. They're going to Ted Cruz. They're going to Ben Carson. They're going to the person who seems like the insurgent candidate, like Trump seems like that. Maybe to Carly, I don't know. Maybe to Alan Keyes someday. Because what we have happening is this phenomenon where if somebody can capture people's imaginations and their anger and their rage with earned media, they obviously can go really far. If the election was held today, Donald Trump would be the Republican nominee, and if the election for her against Hillary, whoever it would be the next day, Donald Trump would be the president of the United States, people. Do not kid yourself. Donald Trump would wipe the floor with Hillary, okay? And if you notice, there's some black women, do a web search about women supporting Trump. There's some black women I saw yesterday. I weighed and I thought, I'm not going to run this. It's just a little bit intense. But these two black women are just throttling Megyn Kelly. Stay away from my man. You come to me the next time. You ask me permission if you can even talk about Donald. I mean, they just went off on Megyn. So they're Democrats. These are Democrat women, black Democrat women, who said, well, we really like Donald and we don't like Megyn Kelly. So what we could be seeing is maybe transmitters being put in all the sheep all over America, at least a lot of the sheep all over America. Don't believe the Republican machinery. Don't believe the media. Recognize that you're being manipulated and grab your pitchfork and your sword. Yeah, let's go.